What's up, everybody? Welcome to Toxic News and Toxic Trading, brought to you by Toxic Hustle. My name is Jay Tragic Jeffrey. Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin's wild ride, the economic shockwaves that are going on, some profit secrets, and some bot mastery techniques that I'll be dropping on y'all today. So let's do this without any further ado. Let's get it in. So let's talk about what's going on economically, right? Certain things we're looking for signs. We're looking for signs of where are we in the market, signs of what's going down. Today, we're going to be diving into this perfect storm of madness that we've been dealing with. The strategies I'm going to be revealing, these bot tricks that I'm going to be showing you, potentially 10x your portfolio, depending on what coins you're running with. But before we do that, we're going to talk about some of these economic tremors. Before we can worry about buying in on a high risk play or high risk assets, which is all crypto blockchain is right now, is high risk. The first thing we need to deal with is, what do we see in the economy that gives us pause or makes us say, okay, the things are going to shift differently now, or shift to the upside, or people are going to put more money into investments. Currently, with the high interest rates that we have, the Fed is not dropping those down. They haven't been dropping them down, and they don't seem to be doing that for quite a couple more months, maybe September. What we're looking for now is, how bad are things getting? So now there is the opportunity to see what's going on in the economy as far as employment, which we are seeing still more jobs, more people getting laid off. We're going to focus on what's going on with Delta. Now, Delta's got packed planes and empty pockets. They've got multiple carriers, other airlines out there lowering their prices so they can fill these seats so people can do the traveling that they need to do. Delta, on their earnings call last week, said that their traffic is up, but profits are down, which is the stagflation paradox. We've got a stagnant economy while we're still in a high inflationary situation. The travel sector is seemingly struggling, which could lead to a Bitcoin pump, which would then have all altcoins pump. But we'll look at the charts and I'll show you. This week, I said in a Twitter post that whether or not we get a pump would determine how far we would fall. So we've gotten the pump. Now we need to see how far it potentially is going to bounce back down. But we'll look at the charts in a minute. But what we're going to be dealing with is Delta reported record revenue, right, for the second quarter, but its net income fell 30%. So what they're taking in, the cost of everything else, cost of fuel and employment, probably employees, is causing them to see their income falling. The carrier reiterated its full year adjusted earnings, so that's another thing to look for. What are people adjusting? They'll sit there and say, oh, we beat earnings or we missed earnings, but did they adjust it before they announced, right? Between $5 to $7 a share, the airlines are facing higher costs and increased industry capacity that has driven down fares compared with last year. This is what we're looking at. Year over year, travel is down because disposable income is not there, which will lead us to seeing, okay, well, if people are not traveling, are they spending on their junk food? A good way to see that is to look at PepsiCo. So what did PepsiCo say? PepsiCo's second quarter profits jump, but customers slow their purchases years after years of price hikes. PepsiCo reported higher than expected earnings in the second quarter, but acknowledged that after raising prices every quarter for more than 2 years, Customers are not buying as many of their snacks and drinks. Duh. Thought that they could keep running the gambit and keep running the pockets and run your pockets and run your pockets. And now nobody's got any pockets to run anymore, which is what they wanted in the first place. They wanted everybody liquidated out. Now there's no extra disposable income potentially for what? Risky assets, except for those who have the cash flow and who've been hoarding cash and are now going into the ETFs and everything else. PepsiCo said Thursday that the North American demand for its Frito-Lay snacks was subdued during the quarter and sales volumes dropped 4%. So even soda giants are feeling the squeeze. So we've got to ask ourselves whether or not this is the canary in the coal mine. Is this the beginning of us seeing that there's no liquidity to be able to push markets to all-time high, except for those that have the cash flow, which would be funds putting more money into funds, but until what? Until something breaks. So looking at PepsiCo's earnings, we're dealing with U.S. demand weakening and consumer spending seemingly on the rocks. So could this be a warning that Bitcoin could gain? I don't know. Again, high risk asset, it's going to go up regardless, but will it surge with only the people that are flooding it in the ETFs, and how long until it actually represents itself on the open market? We'll just have to wait and see. Inflation's nosedive. Right now, inflation is starting to take a nosedive as the Fed is trying to walk this tightrope to whether or not they're going to drop interest rates or not. Inflation is beginning to do a vanishing act, and we're looking at the Fed sideways because it's seeming as if they're starting to sweat. Negative month-on-month inflation, the first time since 2020. Rate cut whispers are starting to get real loud. The chatterbox is starting to chatter. And we're in a presidential cycle. We're in a voting cycle. And typically, whoever's the incumbent, which president is in office, don't want to see the stock market dropping. So, and boomers, this is the last hurrah for the finances before it's passed off to the next generation, which would potentially be my generation. But what boomers are not taking into consideration is their costs of health care or nursing home care or in-home nursing care as a part of the equation to what they have in their bank account right now. And that's why more and more elderly are starting to get real shook as to whether or not they're going to be able to survive this economic climate for the next 10 years. Do they have enough in savings? And especially as they've been watching their bank accounts bleed the last 2 years. So let's start looking at crypto and looking at the trades. Let's start with the chart. Currently, support is around 61,209, with resistance being up here at around 68,649. So far, we're looking at a chart formation that's semi-bullish. We're dealing with potentially an ascending channel. The MACD and the RSI right here is starting to show potential, right? But we also are starting to see potentially a leveling off. So we've gotten above this line. We jumped off the 9, went up. We're in a channel. And now we're going to see whether or not we break that channel. If we break, we're going to be breaking back to the downside. But if anything, again, we'll be bouncing off the 61,209. So this is the hodler's hope. If we look on our weekly, we're looking at seasons of Bitcoin. And in our seasons of Bitcoin, we're seeing that this week was supposed to be a drop week. Now, I've saved this over and over again. Even if I put an arrow up, this is the historic. Now, it can move left or right, depending on when things expire or whatever. So I always say within 3. So within 3 blocks, we should see a dip. So Was this the potential dip? 1, 2, right? 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3. Was this the dip, or 1, 2 within, or is it within here for this drops? So are we seeing potential for a drop coming up? And if it does, where do we bounce at? We'll be bouncing back at 57. Excuse me, we'll be bouncing at, 61. 61,209. So we're going to keep our eye on it to see if this is the direction that the market goes in. But what does that mean? It means that if we're doing our trades on our BitsGap bot, so let me refresh this right now. If we're doing our trades, we've got some out of range bots that haven't been playing right for a couple weeks now, but we've been waiting to see how the market shakes out and whether or not we wanted to move them again. Yeah, so we're going to see whether or not we want to move them again. So the ones that we got to move are Suku, SEI, Mina, Blur, and FET. Now, as you can see, we've done 18% on our, we've done 6% on our Suku. We've done 18% on our SEI. We've done 16% on Mina, 15.48% on Blur, and FET pulling in, because it's been 4 months, pulled in 39.39%, so almost 40% on that play. Not bad. So you're looking at 10x, 10%, a little less than 10% a month. Well, less than 10% a month, but still not bad. All right, so we're going to start moving these bots and transferring them over. We'll go in here. We will stop the bot once we know where we want to move it. Where we want to move it to. The investment was 130.75. Done about a 42% loss on position. And that's because we didn't activate the bot as it was dropping so that we could sideways channel it and chain it to be able to gain some extra cash flow on that. So we're looking at 74/75 bucks that we'll be putting back in to do trades with. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to stop this bot. We're going to cancel all open orders. We're not going to sell anything because we're going to keep what we have as coin. We're going to hit confirm. We know it's Suku USD. And now that that's gone, what we'll do is we'll go to history, click on this, come back, which will put it right here for us to be able to pop it into another trade. So now I'm just going to stick to what I know. So here we go. And what we said was going to put about 75 on this play. So we're going to put $75. Says we need to put at least 77. That's fine. We'll put 80 into it. But what we need to do is look at what we're doing here. So manual adjustment. And in your manual adjustment, what we're going to do is this needs to go to 1.89, and then we want to drop this high value down to about there. We want to get at least 32. So we've got our 1.89. We've got about an investment of 80 bucks. We said 75, but we'll do 80. The high price we're willing to spend. So I zeroed this out where I don't want any Suku to be used. And then I have basically $80, $79 for the trade. So that looks good. We're going to hit continue. We're going to start bot. And now we've got it running. Do the same down here. Sui, we got about 183.56. So let's say 184. We're going to stop the bot. Confirm. I closed out the wrong one. Oh, shiza. All right. So I close out the wrong bot. It'd be like that sometimes. So let's get this back in play. Let's see. Start a new one. Grid bot. Manual adjustment 189. I'm gonna drop this down to here. Okay. We're gonna do this. Trail up. And then continue. Wait, go back. We need at least 30 something. Good. Right there. Start bot. So now we've got that bot going, and let's get the right bot this time, which is SEI. We're looking at currently 248, 250. So let's say 250 on this one. So we're going to click on here. We're going to stop the bot. We're looking at 250 that we want to place back on this one. Okay. Now that it's done, we're going to go to history. We're going to click on that. We're going to go to now start a new bot, grid bot. So we want to put 250 on there. We're going to drop this down so that we're not spending anything. So that 0 SEI is going to be spent. And we're going to drop this down to 30. So 0 spent, 34, 189. That looks good. Let's hit continue, start the bot. Scroll down to this one here. We've got Mina. Mina, we're going to put we're going to actually just put flat 200 on that one. Stop the bot. And I do these one at a time so I know I can see what the liquidity was and then put it in and then see what's remaining of the liquidity. This way we're not spinning our wheels, spending money and not knowing what position we want to come back in at. So we said we're going to come back in at 200 instead of 203 or 205. We're going to go to history, click Mina, start a new bot, grid bot, manual adjustment. We want 1.89 before we even do anything else. We're going to drop this till Mina says 0. There we are. And then we said we wanted 200 to be what we spent. And we want to drop this down to at least, that's 33 is fine. And then click continue and start. And then we'll do the same with blur. Looking at 109, I'll put 110 on it. Stop the bot. Cancel all open orders. We don't want to sell anything. We just want to stop what open orders we have so we can readjust our bot. All right, that's done. We're going to go to our history. Got blur. Click that here. Start a new bot. We want to make it a grid bot. We want to manually adjust. We want 1.89. You'll see now all of a sudden everything, all that red is gone because you're not spending a whole bunch of money. We want 0 blur to be spent. Got it. And we want to drop this down to at least 30. I'll say 38 is fine. Click start bot. And last but not least, 148.46. Perfect. Okay. Next is this one. And again, bot actions. We want 148. We're going to do 140 or 150. We'll see if we can do 150. We'll see if we have enough. So stop the bot. Cancel all open orders. And we're looking at one done. History. I'm going to click on FET. Start a new bot. Grid bot. We're going to manually adjust, so that's 1.89. We're going to drop this down here so that there's 0 fat being used. I want to drop this down so that at least 30 are there. And we said we're going to do about 150. Well, they want 171. Okay, so then we'll go 175. And that's what we'll start with. Okay, 0 FET, 175 in, continue, and start the bot. So now we've adjusted all of our bots. Our current profitability is 12% with the bots that we currently have open. We have adjusted all of our bots to be able to make use of the downside. So what we're looking for right now is if we're going to play out to the downside in the next couple weeks, if that's going to happen, while I did not do this downside, if these two strike, I want all of that smoke to the downside. I want all of this to get bought up. Now we know where that drop bounced at. We know where this went right here. So we now know we are in this position to buy it all up if it goes again. And if we have bots that are out of pocket, we're going to be able to track that and move to the downside on all of our other bots. One of the things I'm working on is actually a trading alert system for myself. So if y'all are interested in potentially getting access to that, once you get your BitsGap bots up, this is what I'm going to be working on for Toxic Hustle, to be able to track our trades and see where we are and kind of like keep an eye on this page and look for out of range items or bots that have dropped off of the radar. One of those that have dropped off the radar was Engine. Engine coin got kicked off of Coinbase. So right now they're no longer on the Coinbase network, but what we're going to do is we'll wait it out, because come the next cycle, we're sure that it'll end up getting placed back on. That is everything. That is all of our trades that we've done. We're going to keep an eye on everything that's going on in the market. We're going to keep an eye on everything that's been going on with retail. And we're beginning to come up with ways to get this out, or get our videos out faster. Behind the scenes, that's what we've been working on. And plus we've been working with clients, doing automation for clients. So a lot of the automation stuff that I wanted to do with Toxic Hustle was put on hold because we were working on client projects to be able to bring in some more cash flow. Because again, bringing in cash flow is the most important thing. What is your subscription? What is your product, subscription, and service? Or service, right? So this way you have some type of product you're selling. Maybe you have a subscription that you're selling, if like a newsletter or something like that, or something towards if you're doing music or if you're doing art, maybe you have some type of subscription service for that. And what's your service? What service do you have or offer? Like we do web design, web development, we're doing marketing, we do graphics, we do marketing campaigns, we do commercials. So all of that stuff is our bottom end or baseline to be able to get cash flow in to buy up this cycle this year. So this way next year, as that run up happens next year, which typically happens at the back end of the halving cycle. So this year's the halving cycle, next year's the run up. Similar to 2020 was the halving cycle, 2021 was a run up, or 2016 was the halving cycle, and 2017 was the run up. Same. Keeping an eye on your cash flow coming in. Do not invest more than you're willing to lose. This is why it's bring in more cash flow, bringing more disposable income to be able to put that into an investment. So if you lose it, you lose it. You're not tripping. So that's it for today. Thank you for taking time. Don't miss our next video where we're going to be talking about potential altcoins and other altcoins that we're interested in. I'll also be looking at what they have here. I'm going to be starting to do some tests this week on the AI assistant, and I will keep you abreast as to what goes down with that. I don't want to tell y'all to do something and I haven't even done it yet. So the announcement that the AI assistant was in like last week, but we didn't do any trades until today, as you saw. So I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank y'all so much. Please like and subscribe if this content was interesting to y'all. Please share it with people so that they can see this is how you get trading robots up. You don't need to go out here and try to play these high risky meme coin plays. You can still make cash flow and a decent percentage rate just running your bots. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much. This is J Tragic Jeffrey for TnT, and I'll see you next time. Peace.